Hello, everyone. Here we are. We're getting ready to do Proverbs 11. So let's dive in. Let me get settled here. All right. The Lord detests dishonest scales, but accurate weights find favor with him. When pride comes, then comes disgrace, but with humility comes wisdom. So staying humble gives you the chance to garner some wisdom. The integrity of the upright guides them, but the unfaithful are destroyed by their duplicity. Wealth is worthless in the day of wrath. In other words, in the day of the Lord's wrath, which will be Revelation, your money isn't going to be able to save you. Money's never been able to save you if your life is in danger. Well, maybe in some ransom situations, but when it comes to the Lord being angry, your money isn't going to buy you out of it. Wealth is worthless in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivers from death. So that's what we want to go for, is righteousness, which what does righteousness mean? It means right relationship with God. So we want to make sure we're in right relationship with God so that we can be delivered from death in the day of his wrath. The righteousness of the blameless makes their paths straight, but the wicked are brought down by their own wickedness. The righteousness of the upright delivers them, but the unfaithful are trapped by evil desires. Hopes placed in mortals die with them. In other words, if you have your hope in a human and that human dies, well, there goes your hope. All the promise of their power comes to nothing. The righteous person is rescued from trouble, and it falls on the wicked instead. Ooh, that's bad. With their mouths, the godless destroy their neighbors. Boy, is that the truth. But through knowledge, the righteous escape. And I sure did escape from those who were bad-mouthing me and slandering me, and they were of my own family. But I escaped, and now I'm here. And life is good, you know. Excuse me. In the idea that life is good, I just tried my first week of those freshly meals, and I'm excited about that. It's like, could life be better? And, you know, as much as I fear losing the supportive disability because of my health care, there's a part of me that really wants to be off it and be free, you know, and not have any strings holding me, especially not to the government. So anyway, so this just made me think of that. With their mouths, the godless destroy their neighbors, but through knowledge, the righteous escape. When the righteous prosper, the city rejoices. When the wicked perish, there are shouts of joy. It's sad, but it's true. When wicked people die, I mean, if you heard Britney Spears, her testimony in court recently, it's desperately sad. I don't know what the heck they're doing to that poor woman, but she was very clear in what she said to the judge. And she had a psychiatrist or a psychologist that was handling her. I think that's what he was to her. And she said when he died, she got down on her knees and thanked God. I'm telling you, if you live a wicked life, nobody's going to miss you when you're gone. They're going to clap their hands that you're gone. It's not about clapping hands over the fact that we all die. That's not funny or fun. It's that we don't have to put up with your shenanigans, and that's a very mild term. We don't have to put up with your wickedness being in our consciousness anymore. It's done. It's over. You're gone. So make sure you're a blessing to people so that people don't shout for joy when you're gone. Through the blessing of the upright is a city exalted, but by the mouth of the wicked it's destroyed. Whoever decides their neighbor has no sense, but the one who has understanding holds their tongue. Okay, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. This is Proverbs 11, verse 12. Whoever derides their neighbor has no sense, but the one who has understanding holds their tongue. So leave your neighbor alone, okay? Don't gossip about your neighbor. Just leave them alone. Let them live and let live. Basically, that's what that's saying. A gossip betrays a confidence, but a trustworthy person keeps a secret. I hate gossip with a passion. I just despise it. I have much better things to do with my own time than gossip about people, and I haven't done it for 40 years. In terms of that sneaky kind of gossip where you're like, don't tell anybody, but did you hear this? No. I may say things as examples and stories, but meaning to you, but I don't do it when I go outside my door, man. Secrets are safe with me. I don't ever breathe them. I mean, I've got secrets I've been carrying for 50 years. I would never breathe them because I don't feel like they're mine. I feel like the thing belongs to the person who told me. And I don't feel like it's my place to take something that's theirs and start sprinkling it around. All right. So let's read that again. A gossip betrays a confidence, but a trustworthy person keeps a secret. So in other words, gossip comes from not being able to keep a secret. You've just got to tell somebody. For lack of guidance, a nation falls, but victory is won through many advisors. Whoever puts up security for a stranger will surely suffer. And this is what we read about a few Proverbs back, guaranteeing somebody's loans. And if it's a stranger, I mean, I understand if it's your daughter who's buying a car, but a stranger, no. I mean, you're trying to be kind, but you're doing the wrong thing. Whoever puts up security for a stranger will surely suffer, but whoever refuses to shake hands in pledge is safe. Don't do it, folks. A kind-hearted woman gains honor, but ruthless men gain only wealth. Wow. So they don't get any honor. They just get wealth. I'd rather have honor. Those who are kind benefit themselves, but the cruel bring ruin on themselves. Absolutely. A wicked person earns deceptive wages, but the one who sows righteousness reaps a sure reward. Truly the righteous attain life, but whoever pursues evil finds death. The Lord detests those whose hearts are perverse, but he delights in those whose ways are blameless. Be sure of this: the wicked will not go unpunished, but those who are righteous will go free. I swear that's exactly how I feel. I feel like I was set free, that my daughter had much more evil plans for me than what she was allowed to do in family court over child custody, because I had raised my granddaughter. I think she wanted to do far worse to me than what she was allowed to do. And in reality, she did nothing. Sure, I had to give Juliet back over to her, but I got away free because her and Juliet are just, they're so wretched now. It's awful. Isn't there a word, ratchet? I don't know what that means, but that's what I think of when I think of them. They are so wretched now. They're just wretched people. And I got away free, and I still get to have a good life and get blessed by the Lord and be able to share the word. I mean, this is freedom. I don't need anything more than I have, and all I want is what I have. So I'm going to read that again. Be sure of this, the wicked will not go unpunished, but those who are righteous will go free. Like a gold ring in a pig's snout is a beautiful woman who shows no discretion. We've all heard that one before. The desire of the righteous ends only in good, but the hope of the wicked only in wrath. One person gives freely. So basically, I want to say something about that. The desire of the righteous ends only in good. So for as much as we suffer, because we do suffer, everybody suffers. But for as much suffering as I've been through, my life is going to end up with good as the reward and as what I leave behind. But the hope of the wicked, they only get wrath. Their lives are going to end up in wrath because that's what they're storing up for themselves. So it's all going to come smashing down at the end. They're going to reap it. So the desire of the righteous ends only in good, but the hope of the wicked only in wrath. One person gives freely, yet gains even more. Another withholds unduly, but comes to poverty. So if you're stingy, you're going to come to poverty on some level. And you would want to hope that it's not leanness of soul, that the Lord, withdraws his spirit from you on some level, like what he did to the Jews in the wilderness. They got the meat they asked for, all the quail, but he punished them with a leanness of soul. And we'll look up the meaning of that. So I'm going to read that one again. One person gives freely, yet gains even more, because it's meted back to you. He who lends to the poor is doing the Lord a favor, and the Lord repays you. He meets it back to you. But another withholds unduly, but comes to poverty. So if you're stingy, you're not going to, something's going to happen that's going to backfire on you. A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. And it's important to get refreshed in this life because we suffer a lot. People curse the one who hoards grain, but they pray God's blessing on the one who is willing to sell. Excuse me, I've got a little fruit fly here. Whoever seeks good finds favor, but evil comes to one who searches for it. So look for good, okay? Those who trust in their riches will fail, but the righteous will thrive like a green leaf. Whoever brings ruin on their family will inherit only wind, and the fool will be the servant to the wise. That makes me think of my daughters. The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and the one who is wise saves lives. If the righteous receive their due on earth, how much more the ungodly and the sinner? All right, Proverbs 12. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but whoever hates correction is stupid. Good people obtain favor from the Lord, but he condemns those who devise wicked schemes. No one can be established through wickedness, but the righteous cannot be uprooted. I know my daughter truly tried to uproot me, and she couldn't do it. And she is still not established. A wife of noble character is her husband's crown, but a disgraceful wife is like decay in his bones. So it's important to be an honorable wife and to be good to your husband and represent him well. The plans of the righteous are just, but the advice of the wicked is deceitful. So don't ask the wicked for advice. If you know that person has a wicked life, don't ask them. Don't get lonely enough to reach out to them and say, hey, what do you think about this? Don't go there. The words of the wicked lie in wait for blood, but the speech of the upright rescues them. See, that's how I felt in court. I felt like it was the devil, and I could feel it lying in wait for blood. But the speech of the upright rescues them. The wicked are overthrown and are no more, but the house of the righteous stands firm. A person is praised according to their prudence, and one with a warped mind is despised. Better to be a nobody and yet have a servant than pretend to be somebody and have no food. I'm going to read that again. Better to be a nobody and yet have a servant than pretend to be somebody and have no food. We have so many people like that around us. The righteous care for the needs of their animals, but the kindest acts of the wicked are cruel. The righteous care for the needs of their animals. So we think about the small things. But the kindest acts of the wicked are cruel. Those who work their land will have abundant food, but those who chase fantasies have no sense. The wicked desire the stronghold of evildoers, but the root of the righteous endures. Evildoers are trapped by their sinful talk, and so the innocent escape trouble. From the fruit of their lips, people are filled with good things, and the work of their hands brings them reward. So watch your speech. You're going to hear a lot of pastors say that to you. Watch your speech, okay? Make sure you're speaking rightly. Bring blessing to yourself. The way of fools seems right to them, but the wise listen to advice. Fools show their annoyance at once, but the prudent overlook an insult. That's a good one. Fools show their annoyance at once, but the prudent overlook an insult. Boy, I should really think about that one. An honest witness tells the truth, but a false witness tells lies. The words of the reckless pierce like swords, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Truthful lips endure forever, but a lying tongue lasts only a moment. Deceit is in the hearts of those who plot evil, but those who promote peace have joy. No harm overtakes the righteous, but the wicked have their fill of trouble. The Lord detests lying lips, but he delights in people who are trustworthy. The prudent keep their knowledge to themselves, but a fool's heart blurts out folly. Diligent hands will rule, but laziness ends in forced labor. So it ends up in slavery, whatever that looks like. Anxiety weighs down the heart, but a kind word cheers it up. The righteous choose their friends carefully, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. The lazy do not roast any game, but the diligent feed on the riches of the hunt. In the way of righteousness there is life. Along that path is immortality. Proverbs 13. A wise son heeds his father's instruction, but a mocker doesn't respond to rebukes. I had to apologize to somebody last night. It was terrible. It always hurts, but I got rebuked by a friend of mine. I said something about a scripture she put up online, and it was from a different version of the Bible, and it totally took this scripture out of context. So I went in there with the, la 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 la, and she totally rebuked me. She said, look, I don't go to where you teach and start wagging my finger at you. Don't do it to me. Oh my God, I was so mortified. And I love her. And I just said to her, you know what? Please forgive me for lifting myself above you. I mean, how many people do that these days? Because it's so uncomfortable. Do that. Humble yourself. Even if you're embarrassed and it's horrible and you did something wrong and offended somebody. Oh my goodness, it was embarrassing, but I trust her. She's a believer. I trust her. I can take a rebuke. Remember, rebuke the wise and he'll love you. I love her even more because she was honest with me and I was able to say, I am so sorry I lifted myself above you. That's not normal. That's not how normal people behave. That's how wise Christians behave. One rebukes, the other says, okay, I receive the rebuke. All of that is wisdom. All of that. The one who rebukes, who doesn't stay silent about an offense, who takes it in hand and says, sister, stop it. And the sister who receives the rebuke and owns it and doesn't make any excuse whatsoever, just says, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I lifted myself above you. That's not how the world works. That's how Christians work. And we're both Christians. A wise son heeds his father's instruction, but a mocker does not respond to rebukes. From the fruit of their lips, people enjoy good things, but the unfaithful have an appetite for violence. Wasn't it Guns N' Roses who put out an album called Appetite for Destruction? There you have it, Proverbs 13. There's the scripture. Proverbs 13, verse 2. But the unfaithful have an appetite for violence. Those who guard their lips preserve their lives, but those who speak rashly will come to ruin. Better remember that one. A sluggard's appetite's never filled, but the desires of the diligent are fully satisfied. The righteous hate what is false, but the wicked make themselves a stench and bring shame on themselves. Isn't that the truth? I had a sort of little disagreement with a friend of mine today. And I don't think this friend particularly serves the Lord, but he knows of him. He's on his way, hopefully. And, it was a stupid political argument that shouldn't have happened. But he was acting so foolish that it got real stinky. It just made me just draw away and go, ew. Oh, my friend, stop. The righteous hate what is false, but the wicked make themselves a stench. It's part of righteousness to hate evil. And when somebody puts up a political lie, usually I just avoid these things, but I like this person enough that I said, oh, my dear man, please. And he just got very dramatic, and not super dramatic, but dramatic enough, more dramatic than I was willing to get. I was not being dramatic. The wicked make themselves, the righteous hate what is false, but the wicked make themselves a stench and bring shame on themselves. And I will say that's what happened. Righteousness guards the person of integrity, but wickedness overthrows the sinner. One person pretends to be rich yet has nothing. Another pretends to be poor yet has great wealth. All right, so the person pretending to be rich who has nothing is most likely a poser. The other pretending to be poor yet has great wealth is, usually the wealthy don't talk about their wealth, okay? A person's riches may ransom their life, but the poor cannot respond to threatening rebukes. A person's riches may ransom their life, but the poor can't respond to threatening rebukes. That just reminds me of evil, wicked people. I mean, they can pay a ransom for their life, but the poor cannot respond to threatening rebukes. The light of the righteous shines brightly, but the lamp of the wicked is snuffed out. Where there is strife, there's pride. But wisdom is found in those who take advice. Dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a longing fulfilled is a tree of life. Whoever scorns instruction will pay for it, but whoever respects a command is rewarded. The teaching of the wise is a fountain of life, turning a person from the snares of death. Good judgment wins favor, but the way of the unfaithful leads to their destruction. All who are prudent act with knowledge, but fools expose their folly. A wicked messenger falls into trouble, but a trustworthy envoy brings healing. Whoever disregards discipline comes to poverty and shame, but whoever heeds correction is honored. A longing fulfilled is sweet to the soul, but fools detest turning from evil. Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. Trouble pursues the sinner, but the righteous are rewarded with good things. A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, but a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. An unplowed field produces food for the poor, but injustice sweeps it away. Whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them. Spankings are godly. Now, if you're spanking like you're freaking out and beating somebody, that's not a spanking. A spanking is where you say, look, this is what's going to happen. You give a spanking, you love them up, and then that's it, okay? Let's read that again. Whoever spares the rod hates their children, hates their children. But the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them. Some people are afraid to parent. Oh, my child would dislike me. It's like, oh my God, your child's not going to like you anyway. Wait till they're a teenager. The righteous eat to their heart's content, but the stomach of the wicked goes hungry. Okay, so that's it for the night. Let's look up definition of leanness of soul quickly here. Leanness of soul. And it's a reference to Psalm 106:15. Here we go. And he gave them their request by sending the quails, but sent leanness into their souls. By leanness, it's meant dissatisfaction or disgust. After eating freely of the quails for a full month, the food became loathsome. Oh, okay. So I had it wrong. I was thinking it was something totally different, like God not having as much interplay with the person, but that's not what it is. It's giving you so much of what you've asked for that you end up vomiting it. That's what it is, okay? At least according to this pulpit commentary. Whether it actually produced the pestilence which followed, or whether that was a separate and distinct affliction, it's impossible to determine. Okay, now I'm going to read you Matthew Henry's concise commentary. Matthew Henry is a real go-to person. Those that, and he's not alive anymore, I don't believe. I believe he's from way back, like another century ago. Excuse me, I don't remember. Those that will not wait for God's counsel shall justly be given up to their own heart's lusts, to walk in their own counsels. An undue desire even for lawful things becomes sinful. God showed an undue desire becomes sinful. God showed, even if it's lawful, God showed his displeasure for this. He filled them with uneasiness of mind, terror of conscience, and self-reproach. Boy, those are torturesome. Many that fare deliciously every day and whose bodies are healthful have leanness in their souls, no love to God, no thankfulness, no appetite for the bread of life, and then the soul must be lean. Those wretchedly forget themselves. Those wretchedly forget themselves that feast their bodies and starve their souls. Even the true believer will see abundant cause to say, it is of the Lord's mercies that I'm not consumed. Often we've set up idols in our hearts, cleaved to some forbidden object, so that if a greater than Moses had not stood to turn away the anger of the Lord, we should have been destroyed. He definitely saved our lives, and Noah saved our lives. Well, I think it was Noah also who saved our lives, but Moses for sure. If God dealt severely with Moses for unadvised words, and we remember that, what do those deserve who speak many proud and wicked words? It is just in God to remove those relations that are blessings to us when we are peevish and provoking to them and grieve their spirits. Wow. That's interesting. If God dealt severely with Moses for unadvised words, and that was when he struck the rock a couple times instead of once, and he was representing God as this like angry person with what he was saying, you rebellious Israelites, what do those deserve who speak many proud and wicked words? Okay, so in this case, it's saying Matthew Henry, who we trust more than the pulpit commentary, it says leanness of soul is no God, no love for God, no thankfulness, no appetite for the bread of life. Sort of like an apathetic person. And I've met many of them. They just couldn't care less. If God's real, so what? God's knowable, so what? They just have like no verve at all for life. So I love you very much. I will see you tomorrow. Certainly, if you have questions, you can message me, and we'll talk again tomorrow. Love you. Good night.